All right. His back piece as well. There we go. Just sort of gonna see if I can move it onto this guy. Maybe not the way I want to, but I'm gonna be close. Yeah, don't worry about that later. All right. So the top of the ship is done. The balloon. Let's go ahead and do the bottom parts. So I'm going to start, yeah, I'll just work from left to right, I guess. That looks wonderful, doesn't it? Alright, let's do along the Z. Let's see what we got here. First off, let's take this piece off. And let's take this piece off. Now the cool thing about 3D coat, let's take this piece off also, is that you can draw over the seams, which becomes very handy. Let's break these pieces off here and begin to unfold them. I don't know how that's going to look. I might want to make some more cuts in that. Ooh. What in the world? There we go. Well, that's strange. It's actually giving me some nice distribution there. Guess that's all right then. Let me double check on the rest of these pieces. Yep, that's looking fine. Yipper. Alright. Let's do the boat here. I'm doing on the x-axis for this one. Oop. Sorry, I was wrong, the z-axis. There we go. Now I'm going to take a lot of this apart here. I'm going to cut this top part off. And I'm going to cut this interior out. I'm also going to cut this interior out. And cut this bottom off as well. And I'm going to cut the window out. And I'm going to cut the interior window out. It's all a puzzle. UVing is nothing short of a puzzle. I think that might be alright. See what happens. And if you have a line like this, that basically just means that whatever shell it is being projected literally from the side. So don't be discouraged by that. You just have to flatten it, or unfold it, sorry. I say flatten a lot. What I mean is unfold. And this is the window itself. This is the interior. This is that back piece. Now for this guy, he's not wanting to do what I want him to do. He's either getting too small or he's just being silly. So what I'm going to do, if that ever happens, just make sure you have the shell selected and project from a new angle. And that'll bring them out. Let's see what we got so far. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. Beautiful. Oh yeah, I forgot this piece. But she also wants to do that. So UV this guy. I'm just going to do camera for this one. I want to make sure this piece gets cut off entirely. See what that looks like. Not too bad. I might smooth these out a little bit. And sometimes, even if you smooth it, you'll get worse results than before you smoothed it. So I'm going to stick with that. It's a little distorted, but it's not too much for me to, actually, you know what, maybe I can fix it just a little bit here. The reason it's doing that is because I didn't cut off the bottom here. So what I could do is just completely cut off that edge. Take that away, flatten that, do the same with that, and that should have fixed it, yeah. It's just a puzzle. Sometimes you don't realize that you have cuts that you didn't realize you should have made. And you'll get funky distortions. Even if it's close, even if it's like really close, you might be like one cut away from having a really nicely distributed texture map. It's all about trial and error. All right, move that out of the way. Let's do these two. This guy's going to be the easiest one. Planar, Y, done. Boom. This guy should be pretty easy as well. Do it from the x-axis. Well, maybe not. Does that have a backside to it? Oh, it's closed. That's why. I thought this back was open. All right. Just cut right there. There we go. Beautiful. All right, let's do these little planks here. I'm just going to do one and duplicate it over. So no point in me doing UVing all of them. You don't need this bottom face either. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and do these back areas. We'll start with this. Don't need these back faces. And I guess I can just cut right down the center here. Right in this line, I mean. Actually, I don't want two of those, so never mind. No. Looking a little distorted there. I'm just gonna have to cut this piece. There you go. Move on to this big guy. See what that looks like. No. Oh, okay. It had non-manifold geometry. Meant there was either some verts that weren't connected, or there was an ingon somewhere, or there was a plane that shouldn't have been there, which I couldn't see, but it fixed it for me, so that's cool. And that was why this button here wasn't working. But as soon as I went to modify and then click the same thing, it came up with that little prompt to fix it. Looking pretty good. All right. I'm going to do this from the top. And I'm going to that one and that one. And cut those. And that should be good. See what happens. Yep. Good to go. I know a lot of people don't like UVs. They sort of see that as the laborious chore of Maya when it comes to modeling. Personally, I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's like a puzzle. And it's kind of therapeutic for some reason. I don't know why. Alright, let's cut this guy in half here. Actually, I don't want to cut him in half. I want to grab that one and then go all the way to here. And that should be good. Yep. A little bit of distortion right there, but I'm not going to worry about that. Move on to this guy. No, I didn't even do this. Hold on. Let's do this one real quick. I'm just going to cut this guy right down the center. Make sure I got it all the way. Yep. I'm going to relax these ones. Beautiful. This guy's going to be really easy. Boom. All right. You know what I'm actually going to do? Because I'm this lazy, is I'm going to chop this guy in half. And now I'm going to planar, unfold, looks good. Yep. All right, so here, what I'm going to do here is bring this pivot point up to here. I'm going to go to freeze transformations and delete all history. Go to duplicate special. Sure it's on the negative Z, -1 on the Z. Do that. I'm going to merge the or combine these two. I'm going to select these verts in the center here. And go to mesh. Sorry, edit mesh, merge. Maybe lower it just a little bit. Maybe 0.5. I think that merged them together. Yep. By the way, that's a good way to test if your verts are merged. Is if you select it and then press 3 for smooth shading, preview smooth shading. And if it's smooth and doesn't have any weird looking points or anything, then they're merged. All right. So now, I'm going to duplicate this over here. right there. I believe this was 5, and let me see here. Calculator. So if we're going around 360 and we want 6 total, it'd be 360 divided by 6. And that's the degrees you want to put this at, is 60 degrees. You want to make sure it's along the right axis though. Oops. There you go. So those all are sharing the same UV set. Before I do that, I'm actually going to squeeze it in a little bit. And now I'll do the same thing. There you go. I'm also going to squeeze this out, oops, a little bit, and this guy out a little bit. It all got squished together whenever I squished the whole thing. Alrighty. So now we have to do the bolts here. The bolts are pretty simple. I'm just unsquishing all these a little bit. They're sort of pinched in. There we go. Now what I should have done originally was UV'd it and then duplicated them around. But I don't feel like deleting them all and then duplicating one around again. So I'm just going to do it this way. UV editor. Planar, make sure it's on the Z. Project. Smooth. Z. Smooth. Planar, smooth, planar, smooth, all right. Honestly, probably would have taken me the same amount of time just to duplicate them back around, but oh well. Too late now. That'll be fine. They're all going to share that same texture. And they're pretty small as it is, so I'm not worried about it. Alright, so last but not least, we're going to do the ropes. So the ropes are of another little technique for. Sometimes they can be a little tricky. So we're going to select all of them and isolate them. So first thing you want to do with the rope is select it, go to Modify, Unitize. Now, you want to select an edge going all along the rope. Now both of these ends should be deleted, so you don't have to worry about the ends for this one. And then while holding Shift, select the whole thing. And what that does is it deselects what you had and selects everything else. So it basically inverts your selection. Then you go to Modify, Move and Sew. And what that does is it basically lays out the entire rope. And it's hard to see right now because it's so big, but you'll see in a second here. And you're going to have to squish and pull this a little bit to better match the, there we go. You can see it's starting to form. There we go. Yep. So move that right there. And you're going to do the same thing for the rest of these. When it comes to parts like this, where there actually is an end to it, oh, well, there, I guess there isn't an end to it. But when it comes to parts like that, you select that edge that runs along the length of it, and then you, while still holding Shift, you double click to select this loop, and then just do the exact same process of then, you know, holding Shift and selecting everything else, and then clicking Move and Sew. And you'll get the flat end layout over here. It's very easy. So I'm going to do that for the rest of these, and then I'll be back in a second.